welcome back. Welcome to part 2 of dementia. Here we go. Before getting into the battles, I'll describe the third level type, the Arctic. The Arctic is exactly what you guessed from the name. An icy tundra with a few watery segments. The music reminded me of a head of Northern Hemispheres from Donkey Kong Country 8-bit form. A very dangerous song. It made me think about trapped in a tundra and freezing to death. There were 2 new enemies in this stage. The first was a creature frozen in a block of ice. They block your way and you have to use the heat beam to thaw them out of the ice. They look a bit smaller version of Godzilla, only without the eye. When free, they do a strange crawling movement and push you backwards. It doesn't cause you any damage, but it's a bit annoying. After dealing with the Iceman, I kept walking for a minute or two and came upon a water segment. And jumped in, and this time I managed to get a screen cap showing how the water splashes when you jump in. Don't know how they programmed that, but it's pretty impressive. Another interesting thing is how the screen changes focus when you go underwater. Here you can see the other new enemy, a little thing I call Spike Walker. They walk towards you and explode randomly or instantly if you attack them, sending spikes in every direction. The spikes don't do much damage, but they did get me dangerously close to falling into a pit a few times. Oh, speaking of pits down into the water, the game has a platformer element, Bombless Pits. There weren't any of these in the original game since it was strictly an action game, but the pits were a neat addition. After getting back on land, I encountered an unexpected mini-boss, Magma, the Walrus Kaiju. I knew this game had some absurd monsters to begin with, but wow, not that I'm complaining, it's really cool camo for an unappreciated kaiju. Magma's fighting tactics were very simple. He had a freeze beam and could charge into you. Not very challenging, but certainly more entertaining than the Matango mini-boss in the original game. One really interesting thing about Magma is that he doesn't die when you defeat him. He turns his tail and retreats. This was the first time I had ever seen a monster change direction, let alone retreat. I tried to chase after him, but he disappeared after he got into the water. Poor butt. And that does it for the Arctic. I'll talk about the Amanda fight next. I forgot to mention before, but the music played during the new monster fights was reused from themes actually in the game. So far, there's been Titanosaurus for Godzilla's music, Violante for Hedorah's music for Violante, Orga, Bergam / Remote Gear's music for Orga, Brand's music for Manda, and Godzilla music for Space Godzilla. As for the fight, Manda was a fairly crafted opponent. When he realized one tactic was ineffective, it would immediately change to a different one. Manda used quite a few tricks like spitting fire, biting, and the most irritating of all, constricting. It doesn't merely drain your life down like Iceman's cutter, but it's by far Manda's strongest attack. One last thing to note that I found pretty cool was that the Archagon showed up during the fight to help me out. Manda crushed it with ease, but it was still cool. After I slayed Manda, I played through an Arctic level for health power-ups, and then was on to Gigant's replacement. When the fight started, I was very confused, because there was nothing there. I thought this was going to be a Titanosaurus fight in Paphos, but time. Just about the map, a piranha appeared on screen. but wasn't there for long. As soon as it appeared, the speakers made an ear-splitting screech, and the again flew in and ripped the poor fish into pieces. Well, that's one way to get the player on their toes. The abrupt entrance scared the heck out of me and got my adrenaline rushing, which in retrospect was a good thing because Not Guy Gan was one of the fastest, most unrelenting opponents in the game. Not Guy Gan was tough, but my new skills with gears helped me even the score. Not Guy Gan has consisted some kind of like blood laser he smoothed from his mouth and a downward slash. I was expecting some heckish variant of the buzzsaw attack, but thankfully there doesn't seem to be one. The howl attack was invaluable in defeating him. I wanted to take more screen caps at the fight, but I really had to concentrate. After that, there was just one monster left to take down, Space Godzilla. As I mentioned earlier, I used Godzilla for this fight. Space Godzilla's fighting technique was very frustrating, but merely a very clever idea. Space Godzilla would use his energy to create two flying crystals, which would reach out of the ground and become crystal spires. These spires does not only block you from hitting Space Godzilla, but it also allowed him to constantly recharge the full energy and blast you with a deadly, fully charged corona beam until you broke the spires. Space Godzilla will eventually drain his own spires of energy until they shattered. But if you wait for that to happen, you'll probably lose a lot of life. Heat beams actually seem to re-energize the spires, so you have to use physical attacks. When you finally got close enough to hit Space Godzilla, he was no pushover. When I pushed him, he hit me back just as hard. Space Godzilla does everything in his power to knock you back to the left corner of the screen, so it can create more spires. By the time this was over, I only had 5 bars left, but it didn't matter. I didn't need to fight anymore. I needed to run. Here we go again, I decided right. I really wanted to see the end of the game. As terrifying as these levels could sometimes be, I had to beat them to get through. I decided that no matter what happened, no matter what the game shows me, I was going to get the end. And I'm also made sure not to say a danged word while playing the chase level from here on. For this chase, I tried out an Anguirus, since its roll attack allowed me to move faster than Godzilla or Mothra. The chase started like the first two, except there was a river of blood below. I was beginning to get the hang of it, and the extra speed from the roll helped me catch on the red monster. Especially I didn't have to worry about a power limit, and could keep rolling endlessly. Like the previous levels with the water, the ground inevitably reached a stop. So I rolled off to the blood. To my surprise, the heck beast didn't fall after me. It just stopped at the edge of the ground and just grimaced. I guess it can't swim, I thought to myself. So I went under blood and continued moving. There wasn't anything around, but I knew something was up. The chase wasn't going to end that easily, could it? Surely something else had to show up. And sure enough, I heard the bellowing roar, sounding slightly different. And the monster was following me in a new aquatic body. I had no idea it was a shapeshifter. After it reappeared, the chase started to get into the difficulty I had expected. The chase started to get... being submerged slowed me down, putting me and the beast about the same speed. The only thing that would keep me alive was fast thinking and reflexes. I encountered some bottomless pits, in which mines flowed up from. I assume that if you hit one, ooh, it will damage you and knock you back. Considering how fast a red monster swims, hitting the mine would be instant death. So I went through great effort to avoid them. But who was to know I had to be wary of? Halfway through the chase, the heck beast revealed yet another surprise. A tentacle formed of intestine and tipped with a claws just burst from his mouth, trying to pull me in and devour me. I only barely avoided both the tentacle and the mines, but I could tell the beast was getting desperate as the chase was nearly over. And about a minute later, I had a spot a bit at the ground that served the exit. I leaped with all my might I could muster without breaking my controller. The beast screamed with rage and jumped out on the Blood River, and one last attack that dragged me over. But I escaped his grasp this time. I fell back on my bed and took a deep breath, satisfied with yet another successful escape. Now I was headed to the fifth world. Entropy. Bye.